You need a fucking MacBook, brother.
Dude, yeah, it's time.
I
It's
feel like
time.
that's on this topic. We keep getting back and forth from like shedding identities. I think you shedding the Windows identity might be fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like, what would 4 year old or 4 years ago you say if you saw you on a fucking Tim Cook book?
Yeah, it's weird too now because like um it's ironic that you mentioned that, right? Because like Tim's not going to be around much longer, right?
Thank God.
Isn't that yeah? Well, like because dude, yeah. Yeah.
Let it
It's
out.
weird. You come
Let it
around.
out.
It's weird because it's kind of like there's like a full circle hipster moment with Apple now in a weird way where I remember growing up it was like the counterculture to be kind of like Windows because Apple was
Right.
like the
Same.
Starbucks kind of like,
Yeah.
like, oh, the only reason that people get this is so that they can have the brand recognition or what have you. And then you come around to like actually realizing that if you have any degree of like artistic license or creative liberties, like that the Mac actually makes a lot of sense to like bring in, and then there's all these like security considerations, and so,
Yeah.
but then it's like too late because it's like in a post Jobs world, and
Right.
so even and now you're like, would Jobs even like this version of like
But Jobs
Apple or the
wouldn't like
Mac or like
my thing with Jobs, like I was never actually the biggest like Jobs fanboy. I really enjoyed the biography. And I really enjoyed that Steve Jobs movie with who's fucking buddy.
Michael Fassbender.
I really enjoyed it. Um so I'm not like the biggest like Steve Jobs fanboy, but I think I could confidently say if he was still around, like the tech landscape would look very different. I do think it would look like significantly different on a macro level. Like Casey Neistat just dropped a video like 2 days ago about the new Meta glasses that have like the screen in them, and about how like, Google Glass tried that like 10 years ago and they were too early. And he was comparing like the the Meta glasses versus like the Apple Display Pro whatever thing that is. And you just look at that like Apple Display Pro thing and you're like, Steve Jobs is in what universe would this like fucking 9 foot thing sticking off your head be a thing? And then you look at like what Zuck's doing, which is like actual like the closest thing I've ever seen to a usable wearable tech. Like they look like normal fucking Ray-Bans, and they like you have like a GTA mini map in the like that's sick. I don't know. It's so interesting. Here's the thing that I liked about Steve Jobs, like with the privacy shit. It's like I can't stand people who are like, I'm not wearing the fucking Meta glasses. I don't want them to see like my every move. It's like, brother,
Yeah,
like they can. Did you see that thing that came out where it's like they can detect like they can see people through walls with Wi-Fi signals.
I did see that. Yeah.
They can like bounce like these three-way points. It's like, what do you think?
It
Like,
reminds me of the exact line that you had like a couple weeks ago, where it's like we've already been watching like AI slop, like and like those movies are already out. Like Pedro Pascal is in four of them.
yeah, yeah. What are we talking
Yeah,
about, man?
like
Go
it's
watch
already
any
there.
movie this year. Like, I'd rather it be fucking I don't know, man. It's such this interesting. There's always this. There's always this weird pervasive counterculture. Like, I don't think it's cool anymore to like be counterculture for the sake of being counterculture. We need like a punk revival. That's what we need. We need like a British invasion. It's like guys who hate on Drake. It's like I don't like Drake's music. You can't hate on Drake, dumbass. Like, don't be that guy. I don't know. I don't fucking know.
I think it's just I don't know.
We wouldn't be on iPhone 17 if
Yeah,
Jobs was around.
yeah. I think that I don't know. It's just I was thinking about it earlier today too. Like there's that famous or like infamous Henry Ford quote that's like, if I asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses.
Mm-hmm.
instead of like, inventing the car. And then whether or not all progress in the technical domain is a positive just by default, like now that we've moved on to cars, if
Mm-hmm.
cities are kind of like a net result of cars, and if the smartphone is the net result of how we interact with
Right.
people now, if jobs would even like what all of
Yeah.
this is kind of turned into. And but to your point too, it's like you can't, we're never going back, and like you can't be a luddite, like you
Yeah.
can't just like immediately rescind any and all technological advancements. But like that's the hardest part, and there's a metaphor in there too, like you have to be um in it but not of it, like you got to just
Yeah.
find a way to be
Yeah.
able to use these things truly as tools as best as you possibly can,
Yeah.
without letting them meaningfully intrinsically transform you in the and it's like an
Yeah.
impossible task, but that's also like what living in material reality is like as a whole.
Well, Jobs to technology was like struck to me as like pro-human.
Yeah, exactly. It was. Yeah, it was very. I mean, they were basically making, like, him and Joni Ive were like, in particular, and you can probably lump in Steve Wozniak in there to some extent, is that they're just making kind of like toys, really,
Mm-hmm.
like, or something. There's almost like even like a weirdly kind of Japanese mindset about it, that it's
Very.
just like a
Yeah.
pleasant
Yeah.
like thing,
Yeah.
and it's tactile, and it's very it carries like a little personality with it.
Yeah.
There was
Well, have you
a
seen like a Teenage Engineering? Do you know that company?
uh,
They do like the musical instruments. They do like kind of like almost like the new age like analog synth. They're these very tact, and they have like little keyboards, and but it's, you
yeah,
look
yeah,
at the design and it's so pro human. It just like looks like you want to use it. Like it looks so nice to use. It's like a, like if you ever go down the rabbit hole of like the crazy mechanical keyboard guys where they literally like
yeah,
build
yeah, yeah.
every single part of the keyboard, and they have that fucking like coiled wire. Like if you're using something 8 hours a day, it's nice to use. Like you may as well have it. Like yeah, that there is some like Japanese, but like that scene from the Steve Jobs documentary where he's like about to go on stage and his daughter is like using the Mac one for the first time, and she's like
Mhm.
pointing and clicking. It's like the first time that a child's ever been able to use a computer. It's like you could spin that as this evil dystopian, like you're brainwashing kids and using technology. But the difference between watching like a child be able to use Microsoft Paint for the first time to write her dad a love note before he goes on stage versus like TikTok, like it's
Yeah,
just not, it's innovation for the sake of innovate. It's not pro, I don't know, it's such a tricky, the tricky part about that to me is when you start getting into the very like dystopian, that typical like boomer China, like we're gonna have social credit scores and like central bank digital currency stuff. And it's like, what is pro-human? What is not? Like, like there's this gonna be this. I think like self-driving cars are like here, and bro, fucking Tesla, dude, you can have a Tesla, like own a Tesla in your driveway, and you can put it on the RoboTaxi app, and it will drive itself to somebody's house, pick them up, drop them off, and then drive back to your driveway. Like,
yeah.
so if we're like
Just like
pro-human, and
eliminating you out of the equation in its
it's like, is
entirety,
that
like.
pro-human? It might be, because if car accidents are the number one, like one of the biggest causes of
I know, but
fatality,
then it's just
and
like
human errors the
we
main.
really did need faster horses from the very beginning. Then,
Right.
like if we were just
Yeah.
gonna invent cars to find a way to like uninvent them, and and like
Yeah. But it's like
keep
what's
the
you know
baby
that
and not the bathwater.
human or what's the fuck the friend thing? You saw that? They were like on the New York subway. They had that massive ad campaign and they got like a lot of hate.
Yes, yeah,
That
saw
is
that.
not pro human. That is not. That is like quite literally anti Steve Jobs. It's like the antithesis of what Jobs would create in my worldview and understanding of like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
methodology.
I think that's the friend.com stuff is like top funnel for the Canadian assisted euthanasia program.
So, bro, put it on a t-shirt.
Like that's how you eventually get those people down to that part. That's crazy, but the bifurcation of stuff, yeah, it's like the filtering, right? You know,
Right. Well, it's I
every
just the thing that, and I think out of all the conversations we have about this topic, because it's such an important topic. First off, like you can't be one of these like anti AI people. Like you said, like you can't opt out of the game, right?
right, right, right,
That's
right.
a theme that you and I and our world and our methodology. It's a theme we default back to. You can't opt out of the game.
You
You
can't,
can't.
and it extends to not to cut you off
Mhm.
because, but to like bring
Yeah.
it to like a higher point as well is that again that exact idea of like this is why we're so not um pro like the I'm gonna like run away and build a log
Yes.
cabin in the woods, you know,
Yes.
and just like
Yes.
forget society in entirety
Correct.
and every dimension the interconnectedness and
Correct.
everything. So, anyways, please continue.
Yeah. I think that's like you and I are fundamentally trying to build this like movement that like saves society or like future proofs them or whatever. We're not hosting wilderness retreats. Like we're not building off-grid cabins and like Joe Rogan bow hunting elk. Like
Correct.
we're helping people make an income online and get into like, you know, these arbitrage opportunities with sales and with these certain avenues and we're we're you need to play the game by
Correct.
the rules.
Correct.
You can the people who beat the game like just understand the rules better. It's like this idea of like the US tax code is like set up for asset ownership. It's set up for business ownership. You
Yes.
get punished for working a corporate job because you're not providing more income. It's not pro capitalism. You're just riding on the coat. You're making enough money to consume. You're keeping the economy going, but you're not. So it's that same thing where like you can't not pay your taxes. But if you're a billionaire, then the tax code is so favorable for you that like liberals will chant in the streets like tax the billionaires more. Like you got to play the game. And I think that is the nuance we have. It's like AI is here and it's not going anywhere. So we can either help people fucking like live in a Faraday cage or we
Mm-hmm.
can help them like use AI. They're printing fake money and giving it to fake businesses ran by fake people. So go start the fake business and use the fake people and go get some of that fake money and then use it to buy fucking land or
Yeah.
Bitcoin. Like make it
Right.
real. Like
Make
play
it
the
real.
game, beat
Right.
the game. You can
Right.
beat them at their own game. You can't just opt out. And I hate it's it's what I can't stand about that like health culture. I really can't stand a lot of the guys I really look up to on Twitter. Do you know like at Biohacker? Are you
Yeah. Of
familiar
course. Of
with
course. Of
him?
course. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I messaged him like last week. My youngest brother has been dealing with some like really niche health issues, and I just cold DM'd him, and I was like, "Hey man, sorry for the cold DM. Like, just have a few questions about this medication he needs to take, and if I can counteract some of the negative side effects with like these supplements." And he sent me like this entire fucking that reactivates this like glucose neurotransmit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't tell me like go eat raw cheese and ground. Like we're past that. Like it's just not. You know what I mean? Like I
Yes.
can't
Yes.
fucking.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You see that culture, especially on Twitter, when someone would be like, I have all these like really difficult health issues. Most are downstream from like, you know, environmental toxins. And they're like, have you tried raw milk? It's like, no. That's why I love like someone like the biohacker guy, which is like, you fight fire with fire. Like modern problems require modern solutions. They fucking, if you're getting nuked by like glyphosate and fucking EMFs and Tylenol, like yeah, like clean up your diet, but like rip some peptides, brother. Like they have these fucking magic serums that you can pin in your ass cheek, and it, like
Mm-hmm.
that's what I think. I think it's all like this AI, all of that. It's like you can use the tools to beat them at their own game. You can't opt out. You can't fucking van life it. Nobody's van life and shit anymore. We're past that. Like the 90s are done. That ship has sailed. No more van life.
No, very real. I think the biggest challenge for real like bleeding hearts and hopeless romantics and starving artist archetypes like you and I are to do our absolute best
Mm-hmm.
in recognizing that like okay, this is just like a bloated corpse that everybody's looting from,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to do whatever we can to achieve some degree of financial freedom from this so that we can turn it into like a
Right.
actual real like sustainable viable thing. But like you know doing your best to like make sure that the thing that you're doing in the process is like as real as it
Yes.
can
Yeah.
be at the same time, right? Because it's like at the same time, um I don't know, like you can go the OnlyFans management agency route,
Right.
if
Mm-hmm.
you were really, really trying to be like, okay, like I'm just gonna make like the quickest buck.
Mm-hmm.
And even still, ironically enough, like I think in that specific model too, do you remember Belle Delphine, the original, the first like
The
OnlyFans,
fucking bathwater.
the bathwater
Yeah.
girl, right? And she like blew up on that platform, became, I think, the first, seven-figure earner from um, being a content creator in that space, and then like disappeared off of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, her lore, like manga or whatever, was like that. That was kind of like her plan from the very beginning. To
Yeah.
your point, she's almost kind of like a weirdly like not a biblical character, but there's
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
some like like she like from the very beginning, like geisha, like a memoirs of a
Mm-hmm.
geisha was
Mm-hmm.
almost like her story. She's like from the very beginning, I'm gonna do this for like 4 or 5 years. I'm like complete, shamelessness, just sacrifice everything, no dignity. Everybody, literally sell my bathwater to like the most depraved, like goblin, like creatures, like, and then make all this money from these pay pigs, and
Right.
then burn it all down and like fucking
Yeah.
disappear, and then like marry like a nice man, and do the kind of like the PewDiePie thing that we always kind
Right.
of like circle back
Right.
to, where you just like build an actual quiet happy family. And that is crazy that that seems to be kind of like the scorched earth
Mm-hmm.
route that
Mm-hmm.
so many people find a way within themselves to be able to do, where they're just like fuck it, like I will.
It's meme coin trading.
Yeah, me, exactly, like I will just go in like into like the like where the pigs are, like
Yeah.
to like the deepest, dirtiest, muckiest, murkiest mud,
Mm-hmm.
and then make myself way out of there. Um, and I think what we're trying to do is recognizing that that's obviously a path that you can do, but um, not everybody can like Belle Delphine it. Like if we
Right.
just took her as a story and accepted her at face value as kind of like a weird rags to riches like success, like almost like
Right.
Robin Hood kind of character,
Yes.
like in a weird way. Um, maybe she like if there were 10 girls that tried to do that, 9 would have been like absorbed by the lifestyle and like
Right.
couldn't walk out of the casino after
Right.
they like made the final gamble, like that actually got them the money. Like they just got addicted to the game and couldn't step away from it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is like the actual real challenge of it all too, right? It's like, even when we were talking about the idea of what it takes to create like a personal brand
Mm-hmm.
on any of these social media platforms, and it's just like posting stuff and then knowing that that input of volume is going to formulaically produce a certain specific outcome, and just that's it. It's like that's there's a raw material to like
Mm-hmm.
refined product relationship there, but so many people even in that process get stuck into the like, okay, I posted 3 times and now I'm checking like my phone,
Right.
like to like
Yeah.
is this going up, like is this viral, or and that is that's the hard part too for a lot of people. It's like getting into the game without getting into the game
Mm-hmm.
and like really just like riding that fine line of like, how much am I a creator versus a consumer,
Mm-hmm.
and how much is it me feeling like I still have agency and autonomy
Right.
and creating in this versus I'm weird like third layer like complicit in it in like a
Right.
meta way, and now I'm actually and feeding into it. That's a really difficult thing for a lot of us to navigate in that space, man. It's just like that's a really tough thing.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I mean when I say like you got to play the game and beat it. Like it's like these guys, the guys who like will scroll for 9 hours a day and they're like, I make money on social media. It's like, no, you don't. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
make money for 40 minutes a day. Like it's 40 minutes of input and the rest is like slop. And you need, but again, the only like they're fucking aiming like mimetic sniper rifles at your dopamine receptors. Like you're playing a losing game. The odds are stacked heavily against you, but you can't. Sorry, like I'm so sorry that there's all these things that like want to steal your attention that you could also use to go like print more money than anybody your entire lineage could by the time you're 35.
Right.
Like at what you got to play the game is there. Like everything's fucking ramped up, like what is, here's a question, because that I am just like historically inept. What is a good parallel to a time period before us, in any time period, where there was this sort of transition period towards like exponential growth in the good and the bad? Everything's fucking going up. Like there's, you know what I mean? Like there's just this steady ramp up. It's like it's inflation and everybody's getting stimulus checks. But if you have a business, then like your business 2x's as well. Is there like a good like case
Yeah,
study?
yes, but well, I think because well, yes, um, because this is like a replicable um, pattern of civilization that has kept happening technologically. Every single time there has
Mm-hmm.
been some massive disrupting innovation, it necessarily creates this massive bubble of
Mm-hmm.
like everyone will throw money at it, good or bad, um, just to see kind of like what ends
Mm-hmm.
up sticking, right? And in that process, because it's like a feeding frenzy, there's almost no time for discernment
Right.
of really being able, even like the to your point with what you had brought up earlier with the friend.com. I saw this cold healing post about it earlier yesterday, where I think he quote tweeted um, the advertising that was happening
Mm-hmm.
like all around the bus stops in New York, where he's like, I haven't seen an actual user of the product, but I see a
Mm-hmm.
lot of advertising for it, and it's that's interesting, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's so mimetically relevant that it doesn't even need like a user space to
Right.
get VC attention. And
Right.
so there are times like that, where it's like um the first propagation of the domain names
Mm-hmm.
with the internet. It's like just buying like thousands of domains and just like not knowing which one of these are gonna end up um, being like meaningful or useful. Like
Mm-hmm.
I bought like Quibbly, like .com, or like, and then 20 years from now, like, oh, that ends up actually being like a worth like $2
Right.
million because some San Franciscan created like a thing that happened to use the same name. And um, so that happens over and over and over and over again, and technologically, and it also happens sometimes in weird sociological events like the gold rush,
Mm-hmm.
like of 1849, for example, uh, where just a bunch of people heard that there's like gold in California, and like out on the West Coast, and then there's a whole like industry, cottage industry, and like complex that and
Right.
scaffolding that gets built around that, and it lasts for, I don't know, a handful of years, and
Or like old factory towns, right?
yeah,
That were like
exactly, yes,
based around these like Ford factories.
yes, yeah, that like are set up exclusively for this, like to support this one thing, and then immediately dissipate as soon as it falls out of favor. And yeah, so there is, to some degree, like this really weird, almost kind of like human inclination of like the get rich quick, like Ed and
Yeah.
Eddie, like
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
waiting for
Yeah.
like the next thing, like the next fidget spinner thing that we can all like gravitate towards. But um
I see that in crypto. I think that's the main thing. I'm like pretty vocally shitting on crypto people constantly because
yeah,
crypto to me, I was in the trenches during the GameStop rush. I think I was like 18. I had no money and I was like publicly I have it on my Instagram because you can go check like your Instagram archives. I was publicly posting GameStop at like $14, $15, like guys, you got it. I had no money on the line because I had no money. I would fucking I called my dad when it was at like $42, and I was like, "Pops, I'm not going to college. Like whatever money you have aside, like I need 10 grand. Fire it right now. Like we're opening Web
incredible.
Simple." And he was like, "No." And then I
Real
have a
quick, just like
mhm.
the fact that this happened when you were like 14 to 15, and that these posts are like memorialized somewhere, feels like the like some Roman teenager in Pompeii who
Yeah,
like like did a little tic-tac-toe before like the volcano erupted, and like archaeologists in the future are
and
gonna
like
point back.
immortalized it because I'm
Yeah.
in like a fucking skeleton that's
Yeah,
like
they're like, this is the cave paintings of like the GameStop. But yeah,
dude, we would have
anyways.
made like 800 grand. I have like a screenshot of like $14, and then I have a screenshot of like $320 or something. And I remember like that's how I got into crypto, and then that's how I got into business. Is I was like, well, that train's over. What's next? And I
Right.
was like,
Yeah.
fucking Bitcoin? Let's go. And I remember it was so interesting for me because it was like the first time I've ever stepped in the world of business, and it was so overwhelming. And I was like 18, 19, and I made a shit ton of money in DeFi Kingdom, and then I lost it all. Like everybody does. Everybody round trips it. I didn't even know how to like I wasn't even tracking my portfolio. I didn't know. I didn't know how like market cap or whatever. We were just playing the game. But I still remember even being like young and dumb, looking around and being like, wait, like the meme of like I'm in it for the tech. I'm like, guys, this is just GameStop. What are we talking? There's nobody. As soon as you started talking about like concert tickets are actually going to be NFTs and it's going to be this new tech, it's like, no, we're not. Like you're making money, and like it's not technically a ledger book, but like it is a ledger book. Like you need
Yeah.
it for you to buy something that you think is cheap. Somebody is selling it that they think they've made such a big profit that
Yep.
they're like, it's it's all a Ponzi. Like the whole thing's a fucking
Yeah. These are
Ponzi scheme.
CS:GO skins.
Right. And like if you were just virtuous in that, you're like, guys, there is like $400 billion just like getting fucking thrown around. just go grab some. It's like that ending scene from fucking Now You See Me, when they just like, shoot the money off the building and everybody like starts fucking
Yeah,
grabbing it. Or not Now You See, the other one. What's the fucking magic one?
No, that is Now
That
You See
is.
Me. Yeah,
I'm thinking,
yeah.
what's the Leo one? Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me If
Yeah,
You Can. Yeah,
I was
that's right.
right first.
Yep.
That's like what basically all of it is. That's what this fucking like A16Z, Y Combinator is literally what Y Combinator is. It's just there's fucking money throwing it around because it
Right.
needs to go somewhere because they keep printing it and like just fucking,
Yep.
like you said, like put ads up for a product that nobody's even used yet. And I mean, I remember like that Waves video, like the glasses one, and it like fucking blew up. And I mean, it's very typical like dry test where like you take pre-orders and then you use the pre-orders to like manufacture your first line. But they had like nothing. Like there was like not even a product demo. Like it was just mock-ups. Like you at least need to like, so they're like, we don't actually, it said like disclaimer because you had to put down like a $500 deposit, and then disclaimer, it's like product may fucking look nothing like this because like we might not even be able to manufacture it. It's the
Right.
same
Yeah.
shit, but you just
It's
got,
like all
again, like you can,
speculation.
yeah, but like so is everything. So you can either cope and seethe, or so like like, I mean, fuck, van life, right? Like what are we
Yeah.
fucking doing? So how do you see it like practically? How do you see it like, I'm biased because to me, in my world, it's so binary. To me, it's like think of find a problem, find a solution for that, and then pay Zuckerberg to like get that solution out to as many people as possible who have the problem.
Right.
And Zuckerberg's worth like $1 trillion because their entire business model is collecting data that I can then use to like find those people. So it's like pretty linear for me. But bird's eye view, generally speaking, like for people that we talk to often that are not, they don't have like that bug that we do. They haven't like taken the blue pill, so to speak, right? And their eyes are open enough to be like, all right, well, it's not the 70s anymore. Like we're past, we're in this new era. We're in this new era of like fucking AI and fake money and inflation and everything. But they're still kind of like finishing college or just out of college and trying to figure it out. And it's like, yeah, you can say like DCA Bitcoin, but like pragmatically speaking, like irregardless of that path, like how do you see beating the game as like this widespread thing that we can start to propagate, not just from a business sense, right? Because that's kind of an issue, not issue, that's a speed bump I've been running into, is that when you and I are indoctrinating people into our world with the alchemists trying to basically move everybody in this direction, like kind of sheepdog this, like we're all going to fucking Valhalla. For me, I just get so hyper specialized to like trying to find leverage points in everybody's career to start businesses and like spin up offers, because that's but like bird's eye view, everybody moving in this general direction, because we need blacksmiths and we need farmers and we need X, Y, and Z. What do you think needs to be that beacon we shine in the sky to be like this? As long as you're doing this and as long as you're maintaining this posture, we will, we're all like, we're going in the fucking Noah's Ark.
I think that this is so interesting. This kind of points back to a lot of the collected essays that I was reading from Ulrich the Barbarian that I was
Mm-hmm.
sharing in the Discord server earlier and in the chat over this past weekend, where when you strip everything away back to brass tacks of like the essence of the human condition, right? What is it that all of this really would ultimately be for? And as cliche as it sounds, it's like asking yourself that age old question that we were asking ourselves even like in elementary school, when we just go back to the most childlike state possible of, if like money wasn't an object, like
Right.
what would you want to
Right.
do, right? And And lifestyle design, like the other big thing that we've been talking about that's another thread that we've been circling around for a good chunk of this year as well. If if the game if the game is fun for you
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like exactly what you're describing, the kind of like arbitrage machine, right? Um, there because it's a real like engineering like problem,
It is.
but like a psycho cybernetic engineering
Right.
problem, right?
Right.
Because it's like people with problem, medium, product, and then creating like a whole system
Mm-hmm.
where like I just press a button and then like
Mm-hmm.
money printer, right? And you're just figuring out like different ways of being able to do that. But
Mm-hmm.
it's either to enable you to break free from the whole like fake and gay clown world shit show in the first place, like build it like your money printer machine that gets you from ever
Right.
having to need to build another money printer machine again, or you really 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 do like building like money printers, and the money in and of itself, it
Yes.
may as well just be like numbers on a arcade pinball machine for you. Like they're just it's pleasant for you just
Mm-hmm.
to be like on a leaderboard or a high score or somewhere or another. I think that there are essential elements to the human condition that are immutable and are intrinsic, that are a part of a fulfilling life regardless. And the closer you can get to whatever path you ultimately end up taking that lines up with the actualization of those things, basically, like the closer you can get to having your work lead you to
Mm-hmm.
the exact lifestyle design that you're
Mm-hmm.
doing, such that like they almost become indistinguishable from one another. That's sort of the ideal path.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now more than any other time, that's easier to do. There's just so many
I
vehicles.
agree.
There's just so many different vessels. There's so many networks. You can get in touch with all of the right people that have, the complementary skill sets and
Mm-hmm.
experiences and networks. And that's really all that it boils down to. Now, it's weird because this is the last thing they'll say on this point of subject, is that there's kind of like the two different sides of it, where there's one where it's like you and I, where you and I understand and believe and have seen that that is like possible,
Mm-hmm.
and you're really just trying to find like the thing that you're like, I'm okay with doing this for
Right.
X amount of time so that my life can be Y or whatever it is, and just so that you can sleep at night like knowing that
Mm-hmm.
like you did what you had to do to get what you got. And there's the other side of the bridge where it's like there's still some people that have not realized that like the paradigm of what we're actually even in, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to kind of like shake them to be like,
Yeah.
like like just
Right. Right.
get like like this is all really just a game, and like stop taking it so seriously,
Right.
and the way through is like directly like through it, like and you're just like like just close your eyes and go just jump, like. And that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
just like a crazy part of it too, right? It's like I think, metaphorically speaking, you and I, our lives literally feel like the boat is just like leaving like the shore, and we're holding onto the ropes like because we're going to be like on getting onto the boat like with
Right.
everybody else that's already on it. as we're trying to get like like
Everybody
people,
else
and
on.
it's like really slow motion,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
and we're like, "Dude, please, I promise you it's not scary,
yeah.
just like come on, let's go." And like that's like that's gonna be our life for
Oh,
like this
great. I
this
mean,
this decade,
yeah, yeah.
Like,
What else is there to do? Yeah, it's such there's such an interesting, so like when I'm putting together, and this is kind of like a meme in like the info like online business world, when I'm putting together basically any course, coaching program, whatever, module one's mindset, right?
right.
Like that's such like a fucking how to make 10K a month on drop shipping, module one, mindset. And it's because like that's really what we're trying to do, right? Like when we were running that initial social alchemy cohort, all we're really doing is just beating into people like just 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 pick up your sword.
Yeah,
Like just you
yeah.
just need to take ownership. You
Just press
just need to
play,
take, yes,
start the
yeah,
game.
like
Actually,
yes.
yeah.
Yes,
Get off the
100%.
main
Like
menu.
yes, get, well, it's like the man in the arena, right?
Yeah.
Um because like for example, one of the guys was like an accountant, right? He was like in accounting, like that was his line of um, work. And to my understanding on what I picked up, that wasn't inherently something that needed to change or even really should change. Like he's uniquely good at that. That supports like his what he's good at. It's easier for him than most people, and it's not like, so like the advice was like quit your job or like don't be an accountant because that's just like dumb. We're not telling him like go start a dropshipping store, right? But what we were telling him was like with that you could in theory um specialize in becoming an accountant for like early stage tech companies, and then you can specialize in like really early stage tech companies that just got their first round of funding, and then you can specialize in early tech companies that just got their first round of funding that are like solo founder, and then you can only instead of right, and instead of like only work instead of like working full time as an accountant, you offer like initial audit bookkeeping CPA services to these people who get their initial thing, and then you're getting really good at that, and then you become known for that through a personal brand, and then you have so much inbound that you need to hire a junior under you, and then 10 years later you have a business,
Yeah,
you're
firm.
running
Yeah.
an
Yep.
agency,
Yep. Yep.
right? It's
Yep.
the same as like fucking doctors who like start their own, right?
Quite
it's
literally.
this it's the same path, but like you said, that requires pressing start, that requires leaving Deloitte or leaving whatever like you're in now, and saying like we you got, because that's the thing, right? It's like you've got to start when you press play, you start at level 1. And so there's so many of these guys, I mean, you can attest to this more than anything, where it's like everything that you have right now is just still, you're still just watching the trailer, like you're
Hmm.
still just in that main menu, just because you have all these things, like you haven't pressed start yet. And so when you press start, it could feel like regression, it could feel like you're going all the way back, but it's like no, you're starting for the first time, and just like a lot of people just never press start, right? And I think that is what we're getting into, is because that thought exercise that I ran through with the accountant is just logic in my head. The alternative is not what the alternative makes no sense to me. The if you were to pick staying in a job for 35 years as an accountant versus the path I outlaid, in my head, like you're just missing context or you're missing perspective. You're missing something. And the precursor to that is just accepting that like you are able to do that because the game is set up for that. Like you said, you just gotta fucking press start. You just gotta stop. You gotta play the game, man. And what you'll notice too, especially, it's a really interesting parallel. I'm sure you've discovered this as well. I was kind of like that typical, like, I never voted as a kid, so I was like liberal. And so I like all the ideologies that just come with like generally being like a good person that is like in that world. one of them was like rich people are bad, right? Rich people are like evil and they just like suck, and we should tax them more, and they should like have less rights because they suck and they're selfish and evil people. I'm sure what you've noticed, same thing as I noticed, rich people are like the easiest people to deal with ever, especially like highly competent entrepreneurs or C-suite or CEOs or whatever. And I think it's because of that. It's because they're not just in this like make enough money to put it back in the economy, like that fucking like Fight Club, like ordering the new IKEA catalog.
Mhm.
You have like you meet any successful business person, any successful accredited person in basically any regard, at some point they pressed start. And at some point, all of them have that 3 year just chewing glass, breathing smoke phase. And a lot of them will talk like that was, the glory days, right? Like everybody has that in common. And it's because like you got to start the game and your fucking character is at like
Yeah.
level 1 and you're just
Yeah.
getting one shot
Yeah.
by these bosses.
Yeah, you start with like tattered rags as your
Yeah.
like base armor,
Right.
and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's good, but it's not like that's not optimistic. It's just real life, man. Because it's not glamorous, right? Like that's something I always say, like entrepreneurship is not virtuous by nature. It is not cool to be an entrepreneur. So many people want to like put entrepreneur in their bio and like tell girls at the bar that they're an entrepreneur. It's not virtuous. It's not glamorous. It sucks most of the time,
yeah,
but it's short term pain. Even it's like prolonged short term pain, but the pain is always just right here. It's not life's easy, but you got to go to bed and like take that mask on your nightside table and try to get a good night's rest, and then wake up and put that mask back on and commute back to work. You got to opt in to the game, and
yes,
then you get the privilege of suffering. That's very like I've been reading Ecclesiastes so much, and that's just such a like the toil. The toil is it's the toil and the surrender. That's the reward. The reward isn't what you get from it. The reward is that you get to continue to work. If it's a work of service, you don't sit on a rock and worship.
yeah,
You like pick up the fucking you till the fields.
right. Real. That's as real as
So
it
real.
gets.
So real.